Stop convincing yourself to stay in an unwanted relationship. When it's time to go, leave. Welcome to Relationship Shield, where we explore topics that strengthen your relationships and protect your heart, emotion, and connections. If this is your first time here, we are happy to have you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest insights on love and relationships. Let's talk about this topic. Stop convincing yourself to stay in an unwanted relationship. Relationships are meant to be a source of joy, companionship, and personal growth. They should uplift us, inspire us, and help us become the best versions of ourselves. However, not every relationship lives up to these ideals. Sometimes, the connection between two partners fades, and staying in that relationship no longer serves our emotional well-being. It can be hard to admit, but there comes a point when you have to ask yourself the hard question. Is this relationship worth staying in? If the answer is no, it is time to gather the courage to leave. Convincing yourself to stay in an unwanted relationship is not only emotionally draining, but can also hinder your personal growth and happiness. In this video, we will explore how to recognize when it's time to walk away and how to move forward with confidence. Recognizing the signs. The first step to knowing when it's time to leave is recognizing the warning signs. Often, we convince ourselves to stay because we either don't want to face the truth or we're afraid of the unknown. However, ignoring the red flags can come at a great emotional cost. Here are some key signs that it may be time to leave. 1. Lack of emotional fulfillment. At the core of every relationship is emotional fulfillment. When you find yourself constantly feeling drained, unhappy, or emotionally disconnected, it's a sign that something is wrong. If the relationship no longer brings you joy or comfort, but instead leaves you feeling empty or exhausted, it's a strong indication that the relationship may no longer serve you. 2. One-sided effort. A healthy relationship involves mutual effort. Both partners should contribute to making things work, whether it's through communication, respect, or sharing responsibilities. If you're the only one putting in effort and your partner is indifferent or uncommitted, it's an unhealthy dynamic that is likely to drain you. Relationships are a partnership, not a one-way street. 3. Disrespect or toxicity. Respect is foundational to any strong relationship. If your partner belittles your feelings, dismisses your opinions, or engages in toxic behavior such as manipulation, controlling tendencies, or verbal abuse, this is a huge red flag. No one should tolerate disrespect or toxicity in a relationship. These behaviors can have a long-lasting impact on your emotional and mental well-being. 4. Loss of connection. Intimacy and communication are vital components of any relationship. If you notice that conversations have become shallow or infrequent, and the connection that once brought you together has vanished, it's a sign that the relationship is on a downward spiral. Emotional and physical intimacy are key to maintaining a strong bond. Without them, the relationship can feel like a hollow shell of what it once was. The cost of staying. Staying in a relationship that no longer fulfills you can have serious consequences for your emotional and mental health. Here are just a few of the costs associated with remaining in an unwanted relationship. 1. Emotional exhaustion. When you suppress your own needs to accommodate someone else's, it leads to emotional burnout. Constantly trying to make a relationship work without receiving the same effort in return can leave you feeling drained, frustrated, and resentful. This emotional exhaustion can make it even harder to walk away, but staying in such a state for too long can have long-term negative effects on your mental health. 2. Loss of self-worth. Being in a relationship where you feel unappreciated or unloved can erode your sense of self-worth. Over time, you might start questioning your value or believing that you're unworthy of better treatment. This self-doubt can carry over into other areas of your life, affecting your career, friendships, and overall happiness. 3. Delayed personal growth. Clinging to a relationship that has already run its course can stunt your personal development. Staying in an unfulfilling relationship means you're not giving yourself the space to grow, heal, or explore new possibilities. The longer you stay, the more opportunities for growth you miss, keeping you stuck in a cycle that isn't helping you reach your full potential. Why do we stay? Leaving an unwanted relationship isn't always as easy as recognizing the signs. Many people struggle to walk away due to fear and uncertainty. It's important to understand why we might stay in a relationship that isn't serving us, despite all the warning signs. Here are some common reasons why people stay. 1. Fear of loneliness. One of the most common reasons people stay in a relationship is the fear of being alone. The thought of facing life without a partner can be overwhelming, especially if you've been with someone for a long time. You might convince yourself that staying in a bad relationship is better than the alternative of loneliness. But the truth is, being alone doesn't have to equate to loneliness. It can be a time for personal growth, self-discovery, and eventually finding a healthier, more fulfilling relationship. 2. Comfort zones. Even unhealthy relationships can become comfortable over time. Familiarity breeds a sense of security, even if the relationship is toxic or no longer fulfilling. The idea of venturing into the unknown, facing the discomfort of change, or starting over can be terrifying. However, comfort can quickly turn into complacency, and staying in a relationship solely because it's familiar will ultimately hinder your emotional and personal growth. 3. Hope for change. Many people hold on to the hope that things will improve, that their partner will change, or that the relationship will get better with time. While hope is a powerful force, it can also keep you stuck in a cycle of false expectations. Change is possible, but it requires effort from both parties, and sometimes, it's just not realistic to expect things to improve if the core issues haven't been addressed. 4. Social pressure. Family, friends, and society often have expectations about relationships. Some people stay in relationships because they fear judgment or criticism from others if they leave. These external pressures can make it even harder to leave, especially if you feel like you're letting others down. However, staying in a relationship for the sake of others will only lead to resentment and a lack of fulfillment in your own life. The strength in letting go. Leaving a relationship doesn't mean you are weak or giving up. In fact, it requires a great deal of strength and courage. Letting go is an act of self-respect. It's acknowledging that you deserve more than what the relationship offers and being willing to make space for something better. Walking away from a relationship that no longer serves you is one of the most empowering decisions you can make for your emotional and mental health. It's important to recognize that letting go doesn't mean you are failing. In fact, it's a sign of personal growth and self-awareness. It's about knowing your worth and not settling for less than you deserve. Walking away opens the door for new possibilities, healthier relationships, and a better version of yourself. Steps to move on. Once you've recognized that it's time to go, here are some steps to help you move forward with clarity and confidence. 1. Accept the reality. The first step in moving on is to accept that the relationship is no longer working. It's easy to deny the truth and stay in denial, hoping things will magically get better. But facing the reality of the situation is crucial. Accepting that it's time to move on allows you to start the healing process and prepare for a better future. 2. Prioritize yourself. When you leave a relationship, it's time to focus on your own well-being. Prioritize self-care, spend time with loved ones, and invest in your physical, mental, and emotional health. Doing so will help you rediscover your passions, rebuild your self-esteem, and regain your sense of identity outside the relationship. 3. Seek support. Leaving a relationship can be emotionally taxing, and it's important to lean on others for support. Whether it's friends, family, or a therapist, having a support system in place will help you navigate the challenges of moving on. Talking to someone who understands your feelings can provide comfort and help you stay grounded during this difficult time. 4. Set boundaries. After you've made the decision to leave, it's essential to set boundaries to protect your emotional space. Limit or eliminate contact with your ex-partner to allow yourself the time and space to heal. Boundaries are necessary for minimizing emotional distress and preventing any lingering attachment that might interfere with your progress. 5. Look forward. The end of one chapter is the beginning of another. Use this opportunity to rediscover who you are, pursue your goals, and embrace new beginnings. You don't have to rush into another relationship. Take the time to focus on your personal growth. Whether it's developing new hobbies, exploring your career, or building stronger friendships, there's a whole world of opportunities waiting for you. Life is too short to stay in relationships that drain your energy, erode your self-worth, and hinder your growth. When it's time to go, have the courage to leave. It may feel challenging at first, but as time goes on, you'll realize that leaving was the best decision you could have made for your emotional and mental health. Remember, true love and happiness begin with valuing yourself enough to let go of what no longer serves you. By walking away from unhealthy relationships, you create space for healthier, more fulfilling connections that will uplift and empower you. Don't convince yourself to stay where you are not appreciated. Trust that you deserve better and that the best is yet to come. A love story to illustrate. The love story between Ella and Mark. Ella had been in a relationship with Mark for over 3 years. At first, everything felt perfect. They shared laughter, dreams, and endless late-night conversations. But over time, the connection began to fade. Mark became distant, preoccupied with work, while Ella felt increasingly alone. Despite her efforts to reignite the spark, the emotional fulfillment she once felt was gone. Their conversations had become shallow, and she was often left wondering if she was even truly seen by him anymore. Ella tried to convince herself to stay, telling herself that every relationship went through rough patches. She believed that if she just put in more effort, things might improve. But as the months passed, she began to notice that she was the only one trying. She gave and gave, but Mark didn't seem to care. His lack of emotional investment wore her down, and she found herself exhausted, questioning her self-worth. One night, after yet another argument that left her feeling small and unheard, Ella looked in the mirror and realized something important. She deserved more. The relationship had become toxic. She had lost herself in trying to make things work, while Mark remained indifferent. The love she had once felt for him had turned into a burden, a chain holding her back from her own happiness. It was then that Ella decided it was time to go. It wasn't easy. The fear of being alone, of stepping into the unknown, weighed heavily on her heart. But she knew she couldn't keep convincing herself to stay in a relationship that no longer served her. With courage, Ella packed her things and left. The first few days were tough. Loneliness crept in, and the void left by the relationship felt overwhelming. But as time passed, Ella began to rediscover herself. She focused on her passions, her career, and her own happiness. She learned that being alone didn't mean being lonely. It meant being free to grow, heal, and eventually, to love herself more deeply than ever before. Leaving Mark was one of the hardest decisions she had ever made, but it turned out to be the best. She learned that sometimes, walking away is the greatest act of self-love. It was the first step toward a future where she could truly thrive. The moral of the story is that sometimes, the bravest and most loving thing you can do for yourself is to walk away from a relationship that no longer serves your well-being. Staying in an unfulfilling or toxic relationship only drains your energy, erodes your self-worth, and prevents you from growing. It's important to recognize when it's time to go, prioritize your own happiness, and trust that by letting go, you create space for a healthier, more fulfilling future. True love and self-worth begin with valuing yourself enough to move on from what no longer brings you joy. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more.